So in today's video, we're going to be talking about the top free agents that can sign with the Los Angeles Clippers in the 2021 NBA offseason. And as you guys have seen in the thumbnail, all of these players are point guards. So in this video, we're going to be basically covering the top 5 point guards that the Los Angeles Clippers should target in the 2021 NBA free agency class. But with that being said, make sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, like this video and hit that notification bell button not to miss out on more awesome NBA videos like these. And with that all out of the way, now let's get into the video. So the first player that the Clippers should consider targeting in free agency would be Kyle Lowry. So the LA Clippers have some work to do before the 2021 NBA offseason in terms of showing us how far they can go in the 2021 playoffs, but it's never too early to begin talking about new possible additions. And the Clippers are one of the top teams in the league and will be contending for a championship this year. And if they have another disappointing playoff drought, then they could actually make some serious moves in free agency. And the first thing that they should do is bring back Kawhi Leonard, as that is a must for them in free agency. And the Clippers have had interest in trying to add more point guard depth on their team since they made a last minute deal for Rajon Rondo right before the trade deadline. And this trade did give them the veteran option they've been looking for. And of course we have to find out mainly in the playoffs how good of an impact Rajon Rondo will have on this team. But I'm sure they would like to acquire a player from free agency that would be able to space the floor while also distributing the ball and playing solid defense. And that player would definitely be Kyle Lowry, as it looks like Kyle Lowry will likely switch teams in the 2021 NBA offseason. And there's definitely a bigger chance he signs with a team like the 76ers or the Miami Heat. But the Clippers could make a sign and trade push for him. It would definitely be interesting to see how a sign and trade would work. But comment down below if you guys do want to see a Kyle Lowry Clippers sign and trade video. And Kyle Lowry would definitely be a legit fit for the Los Angeles Clippers. He clearly has experience with players like Serge Ibaka and Kawhi Leonard, and playing with Kawhi Leonard and Paul George would likely be a great idea for a player like Kyle Lowry who still wants to win more championships. Lowry can basically do almost anything on the court, as he plays solid defense with the steals. He also creates plays for his teammates while also shooting the ball from a deep and elite level. And with that being said, Kyle Lowry is probably the perfect fit in terms of championship mentality and the fit on the court for the Los Angeles Clippers. And with that being said, now let's hop on to player number 2. So the second player that the Los Angeles Clippers should look into acquiring this offseason would be Lonzo Ball. And again, the only way for the Clippers to be able to acquire him would be through a sign and trade, because they're definitely over the cap space money, so they don't have legitimate room to sign anyone big. And the only way for them to acquire a player with a sizable contract would be if they sign and trade for him. But Lonzo could also definitely be worth that sign and trade. He would go back to LA and play against the Los Angeles Lakers this time, and that's still where his whole family lives in, which means a lot to him, and he grew up there and went to college there. And it's probably not a big chance that this can actually happen, but if he actually requests a sign and trade to the Los Angeles Clippers, there is a chance, but he would have to request that first. But in terms of fit, it definitely wouldn't be a bad fit, but he does have a fast-paced game, while the LA Clippers like to play at a slower motion pace. But with that being said, Lonzo plays great defense, and he also can shoot the 3-ball very well. So he would definitely be one of the better fits on this team. And the Clippers don't really have enough assets to be able to trade for a player like Lonzo Ball, because they traded a ton of their picks in the trade for Paul George. But imagine a team of Lonzo Ball, Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, Serge Ibaka, and DeMarcus Cousins. I mean, that would be a great team both on defense with players like PG, Kawhi, and Lonzo, and even Serge Ibaka, and of course on the offensive side. So this definitely can be an unstoppable team, which is why Lonzo Ball should at least consider going to the Los Angeles Clippers. But of course it looks more likely at this point that either he remains with the Pelicans or he signs with the Chicago Bulls or the New York Knicks. But with that being said, the Clippers should still try to find a way to pursue Lonzo Ball if they're unable to land Kyle Lowry. So now let's hop into player number 3. So the third player that the Los Angeles Clippers should look into signing in free agency would be Derrick Rose. Rose would likely demand a good amount of money in free agency given his current play with the New York Knicks. But unless the Clippers release a ton of salary, it's probably going to be more likely through a sign and trade, which still seems more unlikely. But this video is mainly in terms of free agents that would just fit the Los Angeles Clippers well. And Derrick Rose definitely fits that category of players. He would play in LA for the first time of his career, and playing alongside Paul George and Kawhi Leonard should definitely be intriguing for him, especially that he really wants to win a championship as soon as possible. And I'm sure if he plays at the same level that he played with the New York Knicks this season, the Clippers would be even more likely of a serious championship contender, as Rose is a score-first type of point guard, but he's definitely expanded his game, especially with the Knicks, by being a facilitating point guard much more than he usually was. A lot of his highlight plays are his amazing passes to players like Obi Toppin for the dunk. He's had many games with the Knicks where he would have 18 to 20 points per game, while also averaging like 7 assists and 5 rebounds. And he's still capable of doing a lot of those things even at this age, and especially after all of those injuries that he suffered earlier in his career. So if the Clippers actually do acquire him in the 2021 NBA offseason, it would definitely be an increasingly likely chance that the Clippers would be even bigger of contenders in the West. So with that being said, they should definitely try to target Derrick Rose, and now let's hop into player number 4. So the fourth player that the Los Angeles Clippers should look into targeting in the 2021 NBA offseason would be Terry Rozier. So Rozier is still mainly a scoring point guard that actually has increased his scoring by a lot this season. He's developing more and more into being a star point guard in the league, and he has legitimate upside left in his game. And for the Charlotte Hornets this season, he's been averaging about 20 points per game, 4 rebounds, 4 assists, while also chipping in 1 steal per game, while shooting about 40% from 3, 46% from the field, and 83% from the free throw line. So he's definitely becoming a much more consistent player, and he's had multiple 35+ point games this season. And he plays very solid defense with getting steals and stuff like that. And the Clippers would be great on both sides of the court with Terry Rozier, while also being a deadly offensive threat for teams. And Rozier is definitely a healthy player that actually plays almost all his games, as he also has that clutchness in him to make the big time plays. So in terms of fit, he would definitely be a great fit for the Los Angeles Clippers, but it would definitely be tough to see how they would be able to pull off a trade for him. But now let's hop into the final player, player number 5. So the fifth player that the Clippers should try to target in free agency would be Ricky Rubio. So in my opinion, Rubio would definitely be a great fit for the Clippers. He's been having a great season with the Minnesota Timberwolves despite their losing record, and he's a great facilitator that can pass the ball really well. And he's also expanded his game a bit and shoots the 3-ball at a high level as well. So again, in terms of fit, this would definitely be a great fit for the Clippers. He plays solid defense as well, and he would definitely be a facilitating point guard on the Clippers that finds a ton of players on open shots. And he also has good playoff experience playing with the Utah Jazz and teams like that. So if the LA Clippers actually fail to acquire all those 4 previous players that I mentioned, Rubio would definitely be a nice consolation prize. And of course, this video is mainly made if the Clippers actually do not do well in the playoffs. And with that being said, let me know which player the Clippers should target in free agency. And it was KNYT here, and I'm out. Peace.